Joe Biden has been projected the winner of the presidential election. There's a lot to go into that and a lot to kind of happen and go around that. And there's a lot of reactions. There's already an attempt to spin the narrative in a certain direction that is maddening. It's asinine. I'm going to go in. I am, but first we gotta really just kind of take stock of things that have been going on. We have spent the last kind of past couple months on Power Report going into the end of the Trump administration with coronavirus, him catching coronavirus, all those things happening, civil unrest with Black Lives Matter. We started the show with a strike in Iran, and that seemed to be the least important thing that happened this year. But I mean, it was just kind of a ridiculous set all around. And what I am wondering from people is, how are you just what are your thoughts kind of recuperating and understanding this moment as it is? What are your thoughts understanding that, I guess, yeah, Biden's going to be the next president and really realizing that fact, we made it? Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Sean?
You good? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's just cool. We got rid of Trump. Woo-woo. Now we're back to a normal neoliberal day.
I mean, right, but there's the past 4 years have been a lot. They've been interesting. Is there any sort of real, I don't know. We started the stream with me seeing the one I'm upset.
I mean, it's there. There's a lot of good to come out of it. It's more relief out of anything. Just Christ alive, good. I don't want to hear from that. There's just a lot of things that we still need to fight for, and people still need to push, and everything. They still need to get out the voices and everything. But there is, some hope in that regard. It's always easier to push people left when they're center than fascist right. So that's always a plus. But yeah, it's just relief. And I can't wait to see him kick and scream getting on the White House. I'm going to sit down in DC with a bucket of popcorn and just watch it all happen. I'm going to have my binoculars on and just watch the Secret Service have to literally drag him out of there. It's going to be hilarious.
I'm thinking it first of the month where they have to actually cut off his power and the water in the White House.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, there's general hope, and it just exhausted from all of it too, just from the whole electionness and all the craziness that's going on. But there's still a lot to do, a lot to work. I mean, the good things of a Biden presidency is we're hopefully going to get back in the round deal. That's going to be huge. Some other little things, some stuff with climate, some stuff that some of the deregulation will hopefully start to get back. Paris, the Climate Accord is another one. Hopefully some of the stuff with the consumer protection stuff will get back reinstated as well, hopefully. So there is some hope in that regard, but you still need to fight as hard as you did now to get your ideas passed and stuff. But as always, as a leftist, it's always easier to get more leftist ideas from someone in the center than it is from a fascist right. So there's some hope for once. Also with COVID.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Any president would handle COVID significantly better than what is happening right now. So yeah, even in Biden, especially Biden. But I think we're going to have a better opportunity at some proper COVID relief. I mean, the reality, I'm not going to skip too far ahead here because I don't want to take stock of the past 4 years and maybe a little bit of what we realistically think are some of the more permanent damages of the Trump administration versus what are the things that might be able to be rolled back in the first couple of days. Paris Climate Agreement was one of the things that Biden said he'd do in the first day he'd get in office. So there's a lot of a first 100-day sort of promises happening already and going flying around. But even before we get to that, there's the fact that in order to implement all of these things, you need more than just a blue presidency. You need the House, where the Democrats actually lost seats in. The majority is thinner. I believe it's the thinnest it's been in 20 years or something like that I was reading. And in the Senate, it looks like we may not have enough seats. The Georgia runoff, I think, is going to be very interesting. Georgia itself ended up being very interesting this election cycle. But I don't know if that is going to be the name of the game going forward. Basically, we're looking at a Joe Biden presidency and a Mitch McConnell Senate again. So Mitch the Reaper. So as far as what can actually happen or get done, I'm still pretty much of a doomer on that. But Bam, you usually got thoughts. What are they?
I usually got thoughts. Yeah, similar to what Sean was saying. Like, I'm glad Trump is out of there. Whenever he does get out of there, hopefully it's on January, whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing is that he's still saying that he's not going to really leave until all the votes are counted. There's illegal votes that are putting Joe Biden over the edge. Like he's butthurt, and a lot of people seem like they're not going to fall for it. But like that's the thing is, I don't even feel the sense of relief and celebration that a lot of people have until he's actually out of there, like post inauguration day.
Yeah, me either. And honestly, like, it's not a celebration for me. Like, I'm not. I mean, I'm not somebody that's like so invested in like the presidency.
Hmm.
Usually, but Donald Trump was, he's exceptional. And he really needed to be out of there. And I hope that whatever we have in America as far as democracy can improve. And I hope that, and like Sean was saying, like there's so much to fight for, and it'll be like I'm like either way I'm going to be fighting if Trump got reelected or not. But I'd rather it not be Trump in there. Like regardless of what the like norm for America is. Like the norm for America is not a president who has like armed militias that are loyal to him. Even obviously like there's always been armed militias in America, like these white racist crazy people, but they've never been loyal to the president. Um, and that's something that's just like unacceptable. You know, people that the culture that Donald Trump has created is like he's made it so like there's a lot of people that think of the word left or liberal as like you're a pedophile and an
Hmm.
anarchist. you know
Right.
like that's just absolutely ridiculous, and like we need to get away from that kind
Hmm.
of narrative as much as possible. So I'm excited to continue that work, and whatever, congratulations to Ho Biden.
Yeah, I have a lot to go into with that. But Caesar, is there stuff you've got like thoughts, feelings about this sort of culmination of things?
I think for me, I know everybody kind of feels different about the presidency, but I think the last 4 years have kind of showed me how impactful presidency really is. Maybe even to a point where I actually underestimated how much it impacts us because maybe it's not necessary like inside of like politics, maybe the power is different, but I think impact around the world, I've come to realize how powerful Trump's presidency was. How when Trump came in, it brought like a sweeping wave of change around a bunch of nations in this world, a bunch of, like so. I'm extremely happy. I'm very happy. I am not happy because, oh, I'm some massive Biden fan. I'm happy because I hate Donald Trump. I literally hate this man. So seeing him leave is one of the brighter things in recent years for me. Because when you're somebody that's brought so much toxicity and horrific like ideals to the world as the leader of one of the largest countries in the planet, most powerful countries in the planet, you have to go. Like this has to go. Like this can't be the symbol of this country. Like it's already enough, like it's already enough, but this is too much. Like there's levels to this. So seeing him go was good because all the discussion leading up to this was like the narrative was like he's gonna win again. He will. And that really bothered me a lot. Like it bothered me that everybody had an assumption how the America is, and I was happy to see that when the turnout showed you that people kind of felt differently, and and it wasn't like the Democrats won on or the Democratic Party didn't win on just electoral like some electoral fugazi. It's like they got the electoral votes and they got the popular vote like by a big margin. So there was definitely a lot of people who felt the same way kind of political reporters felt. And I mean, we didn't necessarily want Biden, but we had that discussion on this show too, which is kind of cool to watch too chronologically. The discussion about the Biden winning over Bernie, how we all reacted to it. Then watching the debates, what happened in the debates, because it fell in line with what we talked about, and then him winning was good. So I enjoyed seeing that, and of course, in typical manner, we saw Trump's response to everything. Like literally, are we surprised? No, he started kicking around and screaming like a child who's throwing a tantrum, and it's probably gonna go on for a while. Like Bam said, but I gonna be shocked if he leaves before my birthday. To be honest, I'm like, wow, he actually dipped. He's probably gonna be there hanging out February, watching the All-Star game and the Super Bowl from the White House. So we'll see. But regardless, though, he's not our president anymore, and that's what matters. I don't care. I don't even care if something happens after this. You're not the president anymore, buddy. Like you took that L like forever. You took that L.
Yo, I actually don't know if Trump really wants to stay in the White House because he was complaining about it being gaudy and small and like not up to standards anyways. He's probably hoping to get out of Mar-a-Lago anyways. But like,
He wants to find some new golf courses. He's over the putt range over there at the White House. Tired of playing putt in the Oval Office. I'm over it, dude.
using Mike Pence as a barrier. No, yeah, I think there's a lot that resonates there because the past 4 years has been a lot of multiple narratives happening at once, I guess you could say, where you have the narrative, that was supposed to be the prevailing narrative of people are reporting, and reporting and journalism is not perfect, of course, but we're trying to explain these issues that are going on and calling things as we see it. But you see the increased sort of degradation and a disregard of the media and its presence and its even truthfulness on basic things. Yeah, I think we could look back on the media and did they cover Trump in a sensational way? Yes, most broadly, the mainstream news media being like ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC. Yes, of course, they covered it in a very sensational way, but Donald Trump was acting in a very sensational way. I think a lot of people were learning as they went along how things were going and how to cover this presidency because it was very weird and very strange. But I do think that a really damaging thing to this country that is not going to be remedied anytime soon is the fact that we allowed there to be two parallel universes and multiple parallel universes with basic truth and sense. And to hide all of that, the fact that you're having this double speak sort of society within our politics, to hide it in, well, I'm free to think however I want to. And it's not about thinking whatever you want to. It's like, can we agree that the sky is blue? Can we agree like what the weather is going to be like right now? Like, can we agree on basic reality and then work from there? But we've allowed people to construct their own realities and call that opinion, to call that discourse. And a lot of people have made millions and millions of dollars off of that because Donald Trump and paying into the Donald Trump administration has paid dividends for the kind of people who do those kind of things. I guess the grift is good, sure, but I think a bubble is really bursting on, like you said, Cesar, this group of people who were certain and absolute that Donald Trump was going to win again and it was going to be a blowout. I remember seeing Donald Trump Jr. Tweeting out 270 to win maps that had California going red and like all these other like absolute dumb shit like calls and ridiculous things. Like truly that administration near the end of its days was getting lost in its own sauce for sure if it wasn't from day one. But at the end of the day, I am, of course, like we said, on Power Report, so it's not very surprising. It's all very clear and obvious, like based on what we've done this year, where things were going to go. And yeah, we were doubtful about Joe Biden's chances, absolutely, but coronavirus changed all of that. The dynamics and Trump failing in ways I didn't even know he would fail before clearly changed all that, so much so that the margins were not nearly as high as any of the whiz kid pundits and pollsters thought it would be. We'll be getting to more of that later. Nate Silver is going to get a lot of smoke soon. But we really got to see that the politics of while just like no chill, completely divorced from reality. Let's side with Steve Bannon, where we put Anthony Fauci's head on a pike for going against the dear leader Donald Trump. Like, we decided we're done with that. We decided no mas.
Yeah, and Christopher Wray, the FBI.
Friend of the show, Christopher Wray, of course, from our sponsors, the Federal Bureau of Investigations. I think we'll be spending a lot of time over the next couple of weeks and months taking stock of the full kind of damage of the Trump administration, what might stay, what might not. Because there's so much stuff that got deregulated and cut and changed that it takes so much to build it back when you already have these headwinds of a government and a people who think the government is like the absolute enemy when governments like corporations, sometimes they're good, sometimes absolutely evil. You need to fight against that narrative.